Yo, what is up, guys? It's Jack, and welcome back to another video. So in this one, I wanted to do a classic gameplay style commentary type of vid, and at the same time, I also wanted some feedback, so I would greatly appreciate it. But first and foremost, yes, this is finally some PC gameplay that you're seeing for the first time ever on the channel, because as of about 48 or 72 hours ago, I finally decided beyond content creation just to have the full-on gaming PC experience. And I just want to say, finally, from a first-hand perspective, it has been nothing but an absolute blast, to say the least. Because obviously, when I got this PC, when I got the rig, it was absolutely it was for content creation first and foremost. But at the same time, I did want it to be something to where I can game on. But content creation was the first and foremost thing. But I just didn't play on it up until about 48 or 72 hours ago. And since it's been a blast, I wanted to make this to kind of share my experience with you. And at the same time, I also wanted to tell those of you, to also make those of you aware that haven't made the switch to PC or have been thinking about it, or for those of you guys that are just curious about it, to not be intimidated. And I'm going to go from start to finish so that way you guys have an understanding of where I'm coming from, because I am what you would call a gray area level gamer. What I mean by this is, obviously, I've been gaming for 31 years. So ever since I was like 6 or 7 years old, I'm 37 now, almost 38, and I've been gaming for that many years at this point. And I have enjoyed both competitive gaming as well as casual gaming. Now, when I say competitive gaming, I've never aspired to be a pro, really, but I'm talking about multiplayer. And I was solely dedicated to multiplayer for a long time, hence one of the reasons why I made this channel, because I was a Call of Duty content creator, just a gameplay Call of Duty commentator, pub stomping, that sort of thing, but just a commentator for the most part. So but for the most part, I've enjoyed playing everything throughout my life. I've played retro games, I've played so many console games and stuff like that. And actually, about a year and a half ago, I decided to dedicate myself to mouse and keyboard. So I had a very old rig, and I had to put the graphics on ultra low. I don't know if there is an ultra low, but low, and I couldn't really play on anything above 60. And it was just basically just to go through the motions of mouse and keyboard and the responsiveness, which I actually enjoyed, and the transition was great. But after about 6 months later, after that, I basically went back to console and just kind of enjoyed that sort of thing. And to this day, despite my amazing experience on PC, I will always be that same type of gamer, to where I will play on multi-platforms, I will play on multi-inputs. But I will say, as far as first-person shooters are concerned, that is like, I am always going to prefer PC, unless the ports, like if they come out on multiple ports, obviously, which most games do nowadays. If it's better on console than it is on PC due to bugs and some other shit going on, then it's like, okay, then I'll play this on console specifically. Other than that, first-person shooters, PC. I just love the feeling on mouse and keyboard. And that's another thing. Do not ever feel intimidated to play on mouse and keyboard, because it is a learning curve, no doubt about it. But as you continue to progress and as you continue to get better, it's an amazing experience. And on top of that, when you're playing single player games, which most of you hopefully that are watching this do, when you play single player games, it's even more satisfying, because it is a really good way to start practicing, really. And you don't even have to put it on a harder difficulty. This is on, for instance, this is on Hurt Me Plenty, and I'm enjoying the living hell out of it, and just kind of enjoying the target acquisition, enjoying just becoming familiar with everything again. And thankfully, for muscle memory being permanent, I was actually able to pick it up from where I left off pretty quickly. But even for those of you guys that are just getting started or whatnot, or just thinking about it but are too intimidated because of the things you might have heard or whatnot, or the fact that PC gaming is too complicated or whatnot, first of all, I completely understand. Because if you were to tell me about 2 years ago what the 3060 Ti is, or what an i5 12600K is, or what RAM is, I would have said, well, RAM is an animal. A RAM is an animal, right? That was basically my knowledge about 2 years ago. Now, granted, is there still a hell of a lot more that I have to learn? Abso-fucking-lutely. But I've had some help, which is also something I want to discuss in this video as well. But and at the same time, it's really not intimidating. It's actually been a very fun process to learn. And at the same time, the experience of gaming and as well as content creation on PC has been amazing. Because, like, for instance, it's, how do I describe this by keeping it simple? It's basically, you're able to be as picky as you want. In other words, if you want to up your frames and lower your graphics because you don't care about your graphics, you can do that, which you can't do on console. If you want to play with a specific type of controller, for instance, right? Let's say, obviously, unless you buy something, consoles, for instance, you're limited to the specific controller that the console offers, right? Well, with PC, if you don't like mouse and keyboard or whatever, you can pretty much play on any freaking controller that you want to, which is great. So, just naming a couple things right there. And obviously there's multitasking, all sorts of different settings and stuff like that, all sorts of devices you can use simultaneously. It is an absolute blast, and you can literally cater the gaming experience to how you want it and to what your specifications are able to do. So that in and of itself is something that is very appealing to me specifically as a gamer, even though at my core I'm still very, very much a casual, and trust me when I tell you, I still don't know a lot of what I should know, but the experience has been great, and I really wish at the snap of a finger I can get a rig into everybody's house that plays games on PC, because it is it is just a different level of experience. And the thing is, you don't have to have the best graphics card, which is, I believe right now, is the 3090 Ti, right? You don't have to have the highest GPU and CPU. You don't have to have like 128 gigs of RAM, So you're going to do very well on something that came, like, a lot of the people that I know got their rigs about anywhere from 3 to 5 years ago, and they're still gaming on them today. And it's like, there's no reason to really upgrade. And usually when you get a PC, it usually lasts for an average of, I believe, depending on your rigs as well. If you have an average rig for the time that you bought it, middle of the road in terms of specs, I would probably say it would last you probably 2 console generations, and especially depending on your specific needs. So let's just say, at least probably a decade or so before upgrading, unless you specifically want to upgrade. A lot of people that upgrade their PCs that are able to do so on a regular basis, just usually do it just for, a lot of times it's not even necessity. Like, I'd probably say half of the time it's not even a necessity. They just do it for like the additional bells and whistles, and they want to spend money on something. It's like, okay, yeah, I'll upgrade my PC. Why not? So, but rest assured, if you get something that's pretty decent, it's going to last you a long time. And chances are, if you get it, a lot of PCs, like even the PCs that those people that I was talking to you guys about, like, they're more powerful than today's consoles. And I mean like the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. So just to give you a little bit of perspective. So it's really nothing to be intimidated about. I know it could easily be intimidating, but it's really nothing to be intimidated about. And don't be afraid to ask. And that's how I actually got some help. Obviously, my best friend has a background in IT, but I found, obviously, since becoming interested in PC gaming, I've also, content creation first and foremost, but at the same time, I was just interested in it from a PC perspective. So it's like potato. So I learned a lot of different things from all sorts of different gaming different channels, like Braethorn, which I'll go into into specifics with him in a minute, but as well as Gamers Nexus, just to name a few. They basically tell you what you'd be getting out of the parts that you'd be getting and stuff like that, because ever since the pandemic, parts for PCs was... beforehand, it was something that pretty much everybody did. They just bought the parts and put the PC together because it was more cost effective. However, ever since the prices with the scalping and everything like that and the pandemic going up in terms of parts individually, system integrators to where you can get pre-builds have been taking advantage of this, and you'd be getting the most bang for your buck by going with them. But at the same time, there's still a few things that they overcharge on. And that's where I ran into a guy called Braethorn on here. And basically, I'll be leaving his link in the description down below, by the way. And what he does is every week he makes like a video talking about, like, going over some of the best pre-builds for every system integrator. And at the same time, it's not just like, oh, here's a pre-build, buy this. You can also customize parts. I don't know if you can do that with every system integrator, but basically what he does is on his Twitch a couple days a week, as well as, like, for anybody that's interested in getting PC that doesn't know or whatnot, like myself, he basically, you go on a waiting list, you basically answer a small questionnaire, basically like what your budget is, what you're looking to do with it and everything like that, because he also has an IT background, so he knows his shit. But he's also a content creator and a gamer, so he really knows what you'd be getting out of everything through experience and from an education standpoint. So after watching him for like about a year, or the better part of a year, I'm like, yeah, when I'm ready to pull the trigger on a PC, I'm going to contact this guy. And that's exactly what I did. I went into one of his streams. He didn't have any spots available, but at the same time, somebody just didn't show up, and I took that spot. And 10 minutes later, and live, he went to one of the system integrators that was having really good specials, really good deals, and he built it from the ground up with the different parts and stuff like that, and wham bam, I was able to get everything according to specifications in terms of what I was looking to get from a content creation standpoint and everything like that, as well as this being a gaming type of thing as well. Um, yeah, it's literally been covering everything. So basically put everything together, and at the same time he also saved me money. He had a coupon code, and at the same time he also said, listen, these guys are overcharging for RAM. We're not going to get RAM. We're going to get RAM from Amazon instead. You're saving this much. So he basically saved me like about $300, and I got better RAM, more RAM as well, faster RAM and more RAM for less than what they would have charged for it over there. So it's like, okay. So, and there's different system integrators that do this. So basically he looks at all the different ones, and if there's any BS going on, overcharging and stuff like that, things that they can improve upon in terms of what they offer and everything like that, he basically goes over that with them. And honestly, there's been progress made, which is great to see. You know, system integrators are becoming better for people because of that. And also a lot of people in the PC community as well are looking to expand the community, because if you, as you guys know, the PC community is we're the smallest, we're the biggest minority in all of gaming, because and like I said, I'm a very defensive spender due to life and growing up poor and everything like that. So basically the biggest reason, the biggest thing that PC has going against it is the fact that it's more expensive than console. Like, granted, you're getting a really good bang for your buck with what the current consoles are able to do in terms of the Xbox and the PS5. But with that being said, it's still a hell of a lot less expensive than getting a PC. So that is the one thing that I wish wasn't the case, but unfortunately it is. But rest assured, if you get yourself something pretty good in terms of, you know, also getting some help if you need it from somebody who knows what they're talking about and everything like that, you will end up very happy, and it's something that's going to last you for quite a while, and you can multitask with it. You could do so many things at the same time that you cannot do with console. Granted, consoles are getting better, but they're still not getting to where PCs are at, and PCs and parts for PCs are constantly coming out as compared to when consoles get released and all that kind of stuff. So but granted, you know, consoles are a lot easier, and that's a lot of things that are that's very appealing to people and simple and basic. But at the same time, PC is actually not as complicated as you might think it is, especially if you actually were to actually just kind of get your feet wet a little bit. It's actually pretty easy. If you think about it, everything is actually made to be ease of access. It just so happens that some things have a learning curve, but once you get through that learning curve, it's easy as pie. I mean, pretty much like other aspects of life, really. When you first start learning things, it's always difficult in the beginning, and then later on, it's like you knew it from birth, you know? So that's just the way it is with life. But a lot of people just prefer ease of access, and I totally get it, especially when it comes to something like gaming, to where you're spending your time just kind of de-stressing from life. The last thing you want to do is just focus on trying to educate yourself even more. But really, it's not as hard as you guys think. And this is coming from a person that's not a genius by any means, and who is also a person that's at my core, I am a casual gamer. And at the same time, I love, and to this day and forever, I will always be playing on multiple platforms and multiple inputs as well, multiple different kinds of games. Right now, I've been playing more multiple different kinds of games more than ever. So it's like, that's always going to be me. And sometimes I'll be in the mood to play something retro. Sometimes I'll be in the mood to play something brand new. Sometimes it'll be on PC. Sometimes it'll be on console. Sometimes it's going to be a platformer. Sometimes it's going to be a first-person shooter. Sometimes it's going to be an open world game. It really just depends on what I'm in the mood for, and also at the same time what's coming out. Which is another thing, is like what I quickly realized when it came to this channel after a few weeks to a month or so after changing everything up over here. It's like my content creation and the love of gaming are so in sync that when my imagination and my vision takes off, it really takes off. So thankfully for money, when it comes to PC, like actually at first, when I first talked about getting a new PC, I was like, yeah, I'm going to get a 3080 rig. And then after learning more and more, it's like, I really don't need a 3080 rig. You know, I could save myself the extra 500 or whatever, how much it is now, dollars, you know? So it's like, I really don't need to. Why spend that extra $500 if you really don't need that kind of firepower? So basically, just like the same thing with the channel, it's like, when I said I wanted to do what I wanted to do, it's like, whoa, there's only 24 hours in a day and there's only so much you can do. And it's like, okay, let's go back to basics a little bit. It's like, let's just stream, and let's be like a playthrough channel. And every once in a while, like today, do a classic gameplay commentary and just play a different multitude of games. And that's it. So, and this is where I kind of wanted your guys' feedback. So, obviously what you're seeing here is like kind of like almost like a playthrough type of overlay or whatnot. Now the thing is, do you guys prefer Do you like something like this to where there's like a nice custom overlay, or do you guys prefer just the raw gameplay? And do you prefer webcam or no webcam? Or do you, and I can do that in multiple different ways because I got the green screen behind me now, so where you can just see me as if it was literally me in front of the game, like in the corner or something like that, versus something like a border with like whatever I have in the background. So let me know what you guys prefer when it comes to gameplay, and even on stream, let me know, because basically whenever I stream, like let's say I stream on Twitch, I'm gonna hit that record button and then I'm gonna put it in parts on here. Probably not like 3 hours at a time. I'd probably limit it to like maybe an hour. Like if I do a big session or something like that, I'll probably limit it to, depending on what the gameplay is, I might do like, for instance, the first 2 or 3 missions of this game, and then part 2 will be the next 3 missions, and so on and so forth. Or if I were to play like Elden Ring, it would be like an hour or an hour and a half at a time or some shit like that. I don't know. Let me know. And how long do you guys actually prefer those type of style of videos? Let me know, because for me, it's a new type of content creation. I've only been watching other people. So, and again, I'm constantly inspired by a whole bunch of content creators, both old and new. So, and I can always learn, no matter how long I've been doing something, or no matter how good or bad I am at something, I can always learn. So for those of you guys that are willing to offer your input, I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. And I also wanted to say, for those of you guys that are still sticking around, thank you for your time, because it's the most valuable thing that we all have is time. And some of us have more than others, depending on all sorts of different factors. So whether you choose to spend a few minutes here or on stream or something like that with me, thank you for offering your time. And also, I also wanted to know, because I've been kind of playing around with this idea, should I just leave this channel idle and just start a brand new channel and do what I just said on the new channel, or should I stay here? On one hand, it makes sense to stay here, and on the other hand, it makes sense to do a new channel. Let me know down in the comment section, because I've been going back and forth on it, and I've been really debating it back and forth in my mind, and it's something I'd like to know your perspective and thoughts on that. And because ultimately, at the end of the day, my biggest thing is the interaction. I love the interaction. It almost brings me back to when I was a kid, inviting people over to my house every weekend and gaming together and stuff like that. Now, granted, it's not the same because it's all online, but chatting to people, whether it's in the comment section or whether it's on Twitch, or whether I go live on here or whatnot, is something that I enjoy. And that's another thing why I wanted to start another channel, because I'm usually not streaming on here. And last time I streamed, 10 subs disappeared like instantly after I was done streaming. So I was like, okay. I don't know if it's still a thing to where if you're not streaming normally or something like that, YouTube takes subs or whatnot. I don't know how that works. I don't know if it's a glitch in the system or whatever it is. So, but again, I have no problem just streaming on Twitch and doing the playthrough portions of it, and just having the recordings on here. And at the same time, since switching to PC, I've also been learning different ways in terms of how to record audio and stuff like that, and just kind of learning again, which is again something that's constantly slowing me down, because it seems like I'm always running into another obstacle. Because, like, for instance, if the audio is bad, it's gonna ruin the entire experience, and I don't want to do that. So I want the audio to be good. Like, I've done 5 different takes of this commentary here alone because the audio was messing on me, and I constantly had to change settings. I had to change devices and stuff like that, kind of play around, because there were just different things that were kind of popping up. Because especially since I've also, like, my last stream, I was streamed on PC a few days ago, and I had no idea that the gameplay was so loud that you couldn't even hear me, and then my mic was doing all sorts of weird things. So it's like, okay, we need to fix this, and I had no idea. And the thing is, nobody was telling me. Granted, I only had one person that was in the stream, but they were multitasking, so they weren't. But as soon as I found that out, I was like, wow, I really need to change that up. So just one of the many things that I'm kind of going through right now as far as that's concerned. So but yeah, I'm really looking forward to your guys' feedback. And another thing is, like, for those of you guys that are thinking about getting PC at any point in time or making the switch, it really, like, do not be intimidated, and don't be afraid to get help or to ask questions. And you can't go wrong with a guy like Braithorn, who really, I know from a firsthand experience, after watching him for a year, and after doing what I set out to do and reaching out to him, and when I was ready to get a PC, and with his help, I can tell you from firsthand experience so far, since having this PC for the last couple weeks and now gaming on it, as well as doing content creation, and both simultaneously at the same time as of recently, in terms of the Twitch stream, I could tell you that I'm very happy with my purchase. And I would say the PC arrived a little less than 2 weeks after I ordered it. So extremely happy with my purchase, extremely happy with the way things are looking on here, even though I'm making some adjustments so that way there's no audio problems and stuff like that. and as well as learning how to use new software and stuff like that. But all in all, the experience has been really, really good. And at the same time, it's also taught me to kind of dial it back a little bit because there's only 24 hours in a day. And also, I've been learning a lot of stuff on YouTube as well, doing some education for myself here on YouTube and how it truly works, because I would like to grow the community here in terms of viewers and subs like that. But the primary thing is to always have a good time with the people that do decide to share their time with me. That's always going to be number one, because that is what I enjoy more than anything else. But at the same time, there's always been that fantasy of, wow, what if we can have like 100 people in the chat someday? What if that could happen? That would be fucking awesome. Or what if, all these what ifs, yeah. But at the same time, I don't want to be too all over the place, because as far as YouTube is concerned, for a small fry channel like me, a very small fry at this point, because obviously most of the viewers have left because I've changed things up, and at the same time I've been very, very inconsistent. So, which I'm looking to fix as soon as I fix some of these bugs that I'm going through right now as far as the new hardware is concerned. So yeah, basically I just want to stream. I want to do kind of like playthroughs and just play a little bit of everything. So as a gamer, I kind of am a little bit all over the place, which is kind of a curse when it comes to YouTube. So I'm still I'm constantly learning things left and right in terms of what I should or shouldn't be doing on here, and what I'm limited to and stuff like that. Because that's one thing I've come to learn, is you literally can't be all over the place on YouTube, unless you're a certain size, in which I definitely am not. So yeah, I've been doing rest assured, I've been doing a lot of research, a lot of educating, and a lot of trial and error with the new hardware and software that I have. So it's a transition process that I thought would take less time, but apparently it does not. But that's okay though, because it's been a fun process and a learning process, so to speak. But I really hope to get some feedback from some of you guys about what we discussed here. But all in all, at the end of the day, do not be afraid to try PC. It is absolutely an amazing experience. And it also depends on your personal preferences. And it could be, the thing about PC is you have a choice whether to make things simple or complicated. And it really isn't that complicated, especially if you ask questions, because it could literally be the difference between asking a question and not asking a question. So one of the worst things you can do is not ask when curious about something, because you'll always be curious and you won't know. And ultimately, not all of us didn't know everything at some point in time. So it's like, you might as well just ask, not really. There's no, like, if it's a legitimate question, I don't think there's anything as a stupid question, really. And at the end of the day, getting that question answered is what makes you smarter, and you become more full of knowledge, and you can pass on that knowledge to somebody else, and it makes you feel and look good doing it. So can't go wrong with asking questions. So anyway, with that being said, I hope to get some feedback in the comment section of this. I've done 4 takes of this nonstop, so I hope the audio, I tested the audio, it was good, but hopefully it remains good throughout the entire commentary of this. And again, thank you very much for taking the time out to watch this, and for those of you guys that decide to leave a comment in the comment section as far as feedback goes, I greatly appreciate it, because it's only going to make me better as a content creator / streamer, as well as educating me. So thank you for doing that, for those of you guys that decide to do so. But with that being said, thank you very much. If I don't see you on stream, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Stay safe out there, and I'll catch you guys soon. See ya.